Today I'm reviewing these small affordable desktop speakers from Edifier. These are the Edifier M60 with USB and Bluetooth connectivity. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews, and just take a look at the little M60s here. Aren't they cute? Starting with the price, these are coming in at just sort of $160 to $169, so pretty affordable set. In terms of drivers, you get a 1-inch silk dome tweeter for the highs, and you get a 3-inch long throw aluminium driver for the lows and the mids. So I'm just going to move this one aside for the moment. This is the passive speaker, by the way. The right speaker is the active one, and you connect it via a wire to this passive left speaker. They've got a bit of heft to them, and that's always reassuring for a speaker. You want something that feels nice and solid and rather weighty in the hand. That's generally a good sign of, it's going to handle distortion reasonably well at the least. As far as aesthetics go, I really like it. It's this all black, really sleek looking unit with a sort of a matte finish. These do come in 3 colors. There's also a white version, and there's also like a wood grain version. It's just got a vinyl wrapping on it. But yeah, this black one is so low key and so ninja. I think it is super cool. 4 rubber feet on the bottom there. Let's have a look at the back now, the connectivity side. So you've got a 3.5mm auxiliary in, then your USB type C port in. That's the speaker out, the one that goes to the passive speaker. And down here, you've got your power in. So it's very simple in terms of setup and usability. I want to talk next about this top panel here. Now, you can't see it at the moment, but if I just plug it in, you will see that there is, some buttons on the top. So this is a sort of touch sensitive or capacitive panel on the top. You've got your volume button, which also doubles as an input select button. And then you've got your volume up and down. So there are 3 input methods. You've got your USB, your auxiliary and Bluetooth, and tapping on the middle button there will cycle through them. And each one has got a different color, blue for Bluetooth, obviously, red for USB, and yeah, it's really cool. After a while, if you don't sort of touch it or go near it, those volume buttons will disappear, and you're just left with that central light there. It's really low key, it's quite dim, so it's not distracting in the least, especially if you have them tilted up like this, which reminds me, I need to mention that these stands come in the box. These stands, that'll give you a better view. So yeah, you get these little aluminium stands. They've got a bit of rubber or silicone there for padding and to stop vibrations, and they just angle them up towards your ears like that, which is super important for little speakers like this to get your proper treble response. And I love the fact that they've included these in the box, considering they are such an affordable set of speakers, and I wish more speakers would come with things like this. Now the lights and the panel on the top have just gone off, and I've been waiting for that to happen so I can show you something really cool. It's got a proximity sensor in the top, so if you just wave your hand over it, they light up like that. How cool. Not only that, but you get some swipe functionality as well. So if you swipe across with your palm like that, that will pause playback, and I think that's so cool. And I think from memory, if you do it with a single finger swipe, that will skip to the next track. So yeah, really, really cool. The only thing is they're sort of on the top of the speaker there, and if they're on the stands, which they should be, they're sort of tilted up, so you can't really see those buttons. You have to sort of lean over to get a look at where they are. So it would have been nice maybe to have some kind of physical risen section there so you could just feel your way around without having to see them. Of course, you can sort of get by from muscle memory once you've been using them for a while. It's not a big deal. It's a pity that it would have been nice maybe to, if they could have fit them on the front somewhere. And before I forget, I just want to mention that, we got a Class D amplifier from Texas Instruments inside of here. Handles up to 24-bit 96 kilohertz sample rate. And that is backed up by a built-in DSP or digital signal processor, which takes care of the two-way active crossover and manages the dynamic range control. And another thing, these speakers do work with the Edifier Connects app, which is another bonus feature. So although they don't come with a remote control, you can control the volume via the app. And in addition to that, you can select between the music mode and the monitor mode, which is basically a more neutral sound profile. And yeah, I think that's about it for what the app does. I'm not going to show it to you now, but just be aware that these do work with the app. But back to the sound, my setup was nice and simple. So I've had these on my desktop and plugged into my PC via the USB Type-C cable. I had one on either end of my desk, sort of towed in towards my ears. And by the way, this speaker cable, this is the one that connects the two speakers together. It's a bit short, so that's somewhat limiting. It's only about 4 feet long. So yeah, you're limited by that in terms of placement. But anyway, so when it comes to the sound, these things gave me quite a surprise when I, first started listening, because for a speaker in this price range, first of all, and a speaker this small, they've got a sort of a really refined performance in terms of sound, especially when you're, in that near field desktop setup environment. So they've got a real good sense of power. These things do get very, very loud, which again is impressive considering that the compact size of these, but it's a surprisingly cultured kind of sound. The mid-range is nice and detailed, it's open, there's plenty of space and air around instruments and vocals in the mid-range. The treble it's pretty articulate, it's pretty delicate. It doesn't sound harsh in any way, the treble, but it's not particularly upfront or sparkling type of treble. And then there is the bass, and the bass is surprisingly punchy for such a small speaker. And when I say bass, I'm talking about the mid bass, because the sub bass, it's always the same with these tiny little speakers. They are limited by the forces of physics. So anything below sort of 60 hertz on the scale ranges from a very faint tone to basically nothing at all. And for that reason, I wish that Edifier had included a subwoofer output on the back. I really wish there was one. Same wish that I had with the Edifier MR3. Same wish that I had with the FIO SP1. They need a subwoofer output, because they are just physically incapable of producing those big notes below sort of 60 hertz, unfortunately. But having said that, you won't miss it for the most part unless you listen specifically to music genres that sort of demand a lot of sub-bass presence. So even in terms of action movies and things, and some gaming, for example, it could be more immersive if you had these connected to a subwoofer, but it is what it is. I'm not going to sort of complain too much about that, because obviously adding a subwoofer output would just increase the cost of these, and they're all about their affordability. But the sub bass aside, for what they do and what they cost, these sound fantastic. There's nothing sort of chintzy or hollow or thin about the sound. It's got good note size, good body, plenty of mid-bass punch. Like I said, if you're in a small room like I am, these can easily fill the space and get very, very loud. The timbre sounds nice and natural and accurate, and overall, just really no complaints about the sound. And I want to touch on the Bluetooth connectivity for a minute, because that's obviously going to be an appealing feature for a lot of people. So I hooked these up to my Android phone, and the connection worked flawlessly. These, by the way, have Bluetooth 5.3, so you get a really stable connection, great stability, and they support LDAC, so you get a near lossless wireless audio signal, which really does make a difference. So the audio quality over Bluetooth on these is very, very good. It's almost as good as, the wired setup. And I think that pretty much covers it. So look, that's the Edifier M60. They're so affordable, they're so small, they're so low key. I love this black stealth version. If you're looking for something that is low key, small and affordable and has a genuinely really good audio quality, then the Edifier M60 is an easy recommendation for me. I actually prefer these over the MR3. To my ears, these just have a little bit more body and fullness to the sound than the MR3. Well, that's to be expected, I suppose, because the MR3 is sort of marketed as being budget studio monitors, and for that you obviously want a very linear or very neutral sound, whereas these are a bit more colored. Although having said that, you can put these in monitor mode via the app and they do become fairly neutral in their sound signature. But yeah, overall I prefer this one over the MR3. I think they look nicer. They're a little bit smaller as well, although you do miss out on having that headphone output that the MR3 has. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching the video. That's the Edifier M60 speakers. I think they're really cool. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, Pa Family Audiophile style. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button before you go. And until next time, I'll see you later.